Hello everyone, this is a rig rundown showing you the gear that I use. Also, I wanted to give you alternatives for maybe if you're on a budget, you want to play like church music, whatever, things like that. I just wanted to give you guys some options as well as go through some sounds of things that I'm using. So, today I am playing a Fender 50s Road Worn Stratocaster into a Vox TB 18, which is basically a Vox version of a Fender Deluxe Reverb reissue. I am miking it up with a Sennheiser E609 into my Focusrite Scarlett 2 into GarageBand, no compression or anything on it. And so this is my pedal board. This is kind of what I've arrived at after a bunch of years of trying to figure out just what I like. What I found is if you buy quality pedals and you spend a lot of time figuring them out and exploring them, you actually can really dial them into what you need to sound like and the sounds and tones that you need. You don't necessarily need to buy more gear or necessarily even better gear, just quality gear. And quality gear just means gear that works for you and doesn't break. And so basically here is what I've arrived at. So I'm playing my pedal board is a Pedaltrain Jr., just the classic version. I bought it used. I recommend buying everything used because it works a lot of the times, and you get out a discount. So you're getting the same quality gear as buying it brand new. I'm running a Pedal Power 2 Plus by Voodoo Labs. I used to use an ISO 5. So you can get those for like 150 combined. I like to a lot of times not use more than 5 pedals just because keeps it simple, lets me focus on the playing, not necessarily clicking on another pedal or whatnot. So I am using a 7-Up Mini. That's what I'm going into first. It's basically TC Electronics' version of a POG pedal. Using the Tone Print app, which I never use, you can manipulate this and use it to how you like. Usually whenever I'm playing, I'll use it in the octave all the way up, dry at about 1, and the sub all the way down. When I'm using it at home, just jamming by myself, a lot of times I'll turn the sub up for the sub octave up for more of that kind of bass, baritone, Mark Lettieri type vibes. From there, I go into a Seritone Centura clone. This is a part-for-part clone of the famous Klon. I very much was anti-Klon my whole entire life, and then Seritone announced that they were going to do this pedal, and I signed up on the list because I was like, it's $195. We'll try it out, see what it's like. If it sucks, I'll just sell it. And I got it, plugged it in, and I finally understood exactly what's going on with this pedal and why people use it. I use it as a first stage overdrive. And a lot of times this will be the only overdrive pedal that I'll use, and I'll just adjust the gain with my foot, kind of just figuring out where I want to put it. And then you can really dial it in to whatever guitar you're using the treble knob, which sounds really good. Also, if you turn it up at higher gain settings, it actually sounds really good. It really works with your amp, so you really have to figure out how you're going to use it. If you're going to use it as a clean boost, run your amp at break up or close to it, and then use that to help you kind of get where you need to go. A nice two affordable options if you don't want to pay to get an actual clone, or you want a clone that sounds really good, is the Wampler Tumnus. Sounds really good. It's really small too, so it's good for just having a pedal, set your settings, and never having to worry about bumping it. Also, the Electro Harmonix Soul Food sounds pretty close to this in an actual clone. You can see demos or an actual clone. I could see probably 90% of the way there, and it's only $60. So that's definitely one that you can use. My second stage is the Analog Man King of Tone. This is a blues breaker type pedal. It's not too expensive, although the waiting list is really long, and if you buy them secondhand, the prices are ridiculous. I bought this from Analog Man when my name came up on the list. I did get the custom black because I don't want to ever sell it again, and I had a purple version, and then I sold it after a couple years, but honestly I think it's one of the best sounding pedals that you can buy. Affordable sort of version of this would be, think like a Boss BD2, something like that. Also, this is basically 2 pedals in one. So the right side is the side I've set to overdrive, and that kind of gives a nice mid hump. So that's something you can use like a Tube Screamer Mini, really affordable. It's like $60. You can use that, and then as well as in conjunction with the Boss BD2, which is also like $60-70. And the left side I have set up as another boost. So I go sort of clean boost. Boost kind of takes me into a nice gain sort of rhythm, and then this will kind of give me my lead boost, or this is the heavy overdrive sort of rhythm tone, and then this is like my boost. Very rarely do I have them all three on at the same time, but it's been known to happen when I'm recording stuff for my Common Man Music channel. Let's see. For my delay, I've had a number of different delays. This is the one that I've settled on that sounds, I think, the best and super versatile, and it's really simple, which I like for pedals. I don't like to go through menus. That's why I don't have something like the Helix, or that's why I don't have like Strymon stuff besides this, because I hate scrolling through menus, and I just want the knobs to be at my feet, and I can mess them with my feet and just figure out where I want to set it right out of the box. So this is a digital delay pedal that has an analog filter on it. I'll play through some sound samples, and it's really, really simple, really nice to use. Something that you can buy that's affordable. This, when I bought it brand new, because I got it modded, it's pretty expensive, but I've had it the longest out of all my pedals, and it sounds really good. But something if you want that's affordable, that you can really dial in, is the Boss DD20. I had that for a really long time. It's a great sounding delay. The analog setting on it sounds very similar to this. Also, you can use like a Boss DD7, which I had for a really long time, and I actually really like the DD7 because it has a hold function, so you can use it as a looper kind of at the end of your chain. If you need to practice just playing licks and things like that, I think that really helps. I don't have a looper, but I do have recording equipment, so I can just record a section really quick and then play over it. So yeah, delay pedal, there's a lot of options out there. I think this is one of the best sounding, and I think a lot of people on the gear page and other forums like that agree. Most affordable that sounds really close is probably Boss DD7, DD5, something like that. So yeah, delays, it's really your option. Lastly, I'm going into the Strymon Flint, which is my reverb and tremolo pedal. For the price, I don't think this can be beat, simply because it is 2 pedals in one, and it's 2 really good sounding pedals in one. There are some things I don't like about this, but I won't get into it. But I think this is probably one of the best pedals you can have. For reverb, you have 3 different types, and you can really dial them in how you want. Mostly, I just use the 80s reverb for big washy parts. I don't really use reverb a whole lot, simply because when you're playing live, it really gets you lost in the mix, which is not really what you want. I mean, you really want to stand out when you're supposed to. But on slower parts, a lot of times I'll turn the delay and then turn the reverb on. For the trem side, I'll use that sparingly, but there's a setting I'll show you in a little bit here that has kind of a chorus sound that you can really fake a good chorus sound. So I really think that's great. Instead of having 2 separate pedals, you get 1 pedal and can do both of those things. Lastly, I'm going into a tuner. You can also use something like a snark. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of options. A lot of guys for reverb will use Boss RV5. I had that. It sounded pretty good, but I just missed sort of having the trem, and then I looked for a trem pedal and couldn't find one that sounded as good for the price as this. So there's definitely some options that you can go for. If you notice, I said a lot of stuff that's Boss because it lasts for a long time and super versatile. And if you want to, you can mod it. So those are the options. I'll play through a song where I'll use some of these settings, and maybe we'll do like This Is Amazing Grace by Phil Wickham or Bethel, and kind of show you how I use a lot of this stuff on my pedalboard. So check it out. So you can see how I'm able to bring in the 7-up mini to kind of give it a nice octave up sound at the beginning. I have, a pretty good bass tone going on. I kick in the overdrive to help me at the beginning of the sort of intro, kind of, give me that sustain and the overdrive to kind of pop out through the mix a little bit. And then when I go to the verse part, that's whenever I click this one off, kind of go just to, more mellow sound, delays going, and then you heard I put on that kind of fake core sound. And then when I go back into the chorus, that's whenever I will kick on the overdrive side again and the 7-up mini. So you can see it's not a whole lot of tap dancing, which is awesome, allows me to really play really well. Let's go for something a little bit slower. So this will be, we'll do like a bridge part of, what's that Hillsong song called? What a Savior. Yeah, so you can see bringing the trem in just kind of gives it a little flavor, a little body, just a little modulation. That doesn't really sound that good in the mix, simply because it would be tough to discern the modulation. It might sound out of tune. So one thing that whenever I was playing at some churches, some of the guys that, tour around and play professionally, they said, maybe it's not good to throw in some modulation maybe at the end, when you're like bending up on a note and a big crash out, because like what the audience will perceive is just they'll perceive that out of tuneness. And so you really want to keep it tight. So just crash out, or take sort of trem that modulation out whenever you're, in the mix. Whenever it's just you by yourself or you're, starting a song, that's whenever you can really kind of mess with it a little bit more. But once the band comes in, you kind of take that out or turn the intensity down a whole lot. Yeah, so that's my pedalboard. That's my thoughts. I hope this was able to help anybody, help somebody out. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to put those below, and I'll respond to them. Thanks so much.